And I am back with another cat and mouse game, but without a cat and without a mouse. So game, what game? Hey everyone, Mukul here. So the Logitech G502 X has 4 different SKUs if I ignore the 2 colors it comes in. And the price increase from wire to wireless is so drastic that it kind of makes the RGB option feel more value for money. That is if you don't mind it eating up more battery, as no light can light up without consuming energy. Yeah, science. The mouse mostly has a matte finish over it, so it can easily avoid your filthy fingerprints. In my opinion, it looks sexy with the super ultra edgy design it adapts, as apparently that's what the future truly is, edgy and all. If it would have been slightly more edgy, then it might have just become a good knife-like utility for your kitchen. But throughout my usage, my hand never really felt any edgy part of the mouse. Overall, the mouse feels lighter and can feel cheap, but I assure you that despite your flawed feelings, it's pretty darn sturdy. The RGB LED design has also been implemented quite nicely and beautifully. The whole area has been carved inside quite smoothly, and I really like how refreshing the design feels. The white PTFE feet underneath the black mouse gives the impression of the mouse having white sports shoes under it, which you can sadly never see while using the mouse. Unless your mouse pad and table underneath are totally transparent and you have really long arms with the ability to work under the desk. The grooves around the thumb area grips the thumb really well. The same grip is on the right side too. There are 9 buttons on the mouse, so this should satisfy your buddy desires. Apart from this, the scroll wheel also has 2 different ways of working, so it can do more assigned tasks when you tilt the wheel right or left. These buttons behind the scroll wheel are a little too protruding. The back of my index finger has always felt it in many instances as I use the mouse more and more. I also deeply despise how these buttons click and sound. It makes the mouse feel like a cheap Chinese street mouse. Oh wait. With the mouse you get a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, and with the help of this dongle you can make the charging cable as an extension cable too. Pretty smart. The 2.4 GHz adapter can be stored underneath the mouse behind this nice flippy round lid that sticks really well to the mouse with its power of magnetism. But this did make me wonder that if having a simpler mechanism here would have really helped in reducing the weight of the mouse. The sniper button is reversible, but I kept hitting it accidentally, especially when I took my hand off the mouse and moved it back on it. Now you can totally cover it up with an extra non-clickable button, which my friend conveniently forgot to pack along with the mouse. Yeah, this ain't my mouse. Or you can just disable this button, but you might just love it too. Now in games, obviously you can use it and the mouse will automatically choose the lowest DPI setting in the software till you actually hold this button. No idea why Windows shows the wrong DPI value notification though. But if you're someone who is a point pusher, aka a 3D modeler of some sort, and do a lot of stuff that is similar to 3D modeling, then on rare occasions, having this same utility to move certain vertices slowly can really help. Wow, did I just kill the fun game factor from a gaming mouse explaining all that? I honestly never thought that I would love this button so much, but I do now even when I keep hitting it sometimes. Well, overall comfort wise, I now just love the shape of the XPG Alpha wireless mouse, which I reviewed recently. Due to the extra width of the XPG mouse around the right hand side, my ring and pinky fingers just feel more relaxed over it as compared to the Logitech. That said, I wouldn't claim the Logitech is any less comfortable, but the difference was easily felt after using both of them for a few days alternatively. But this shape and size are definitely meant to be used with larger hands. The sensor and switches used on the mouse have also been upgraded. The DPI range is up to 25,000 now. But I have never really understood this DPI rat race. I mean, for whom are they really making these ultra fast sensors? And if it's about the bandwidth that can capture even the slightest motion for that ultra precision, well then I hope you are that good with your gaming skills. To measure the maximum lift-off distance, we have to account for the feet height that is below the sensor too, which is something I can't measure as I can't really pull out the feet of someone else's very expensive mouse. So in my very plain card stack testing, with one card under the mouse, which is about 0.27 mm, the sensor obviously worked. With the 2 cards stacked under the mouse at 0.55 mm, the sensor again worked flawlessly. But with the 2 cards and 1 masking tape under it, which lifts the mouse to about 0.76 mm, the sensor finally hit its limitations and the mouse didn't work. Logitech has put a really detailed video for this sensor where they obviously go all gaga over it. So if you want to get more educated about the sensor, go and watch that video, but I bet you wouldn't. The switches on the mouse have also been upgraded. They are now a hybrid of optical and mechanical properties, but they do have a nice clicky feel to them. The actuation force feels perfect too. The scroll wheel supports both stepped increments and the infinity scroll too, and I always wanted to do this in Premiere. Whee! The stepped increment mode does need slightly stronger force than what I typically like, and if you use both the modes alternatively every once in a while, then the totally free spinning scroll versus the stepped scroll will definitely make you feel as if you're putting in more energy in scrolling than your weak body is used to. Despite the heavy price, the mouse doesn't support adjustable weights. I guess that's because it might just appear to be on the heavier side already. But I'm also pretty sure that many gamers now game with 90 to 100 grams of wireless mice most of these days. The convenience of wireless will always outweigh a wired but a lighter mouse. See what I did there? But with this series, Logitech does know that this isn't a mouse for the ultra serious and ultra fast FPS gamers, and it might lure in other sort of gamers for this kind of a mouse genre. Ooh. Also, according to Artings, the mouse has a remarkably low latency response from the sensor and from the buttons on it. I mean, these numbers clearly indicate that this is one of the best wireless mice out there, if the weight and size isn't an issue for you. So when it comes to gaming, my casual gaming hand and brain couldn't really feel any flaw with the mouse. I mostly test all the mice I review in Counter-Strike Go death matches, and the response as per my skill set was satisfactory. I also didn't feel the weight to play any major con here. Also, the button's response felt very apt with the perfect amount of actuation force, neither too light nor too strong. I am pretty sure a lot of RPG gamers who use a ton of macro commands would have ample fun with these many buttons on the mouse. For me, the battery lasted for about 5 days with these LEDs always on at max brightness. That is when I use the mouse every day for 6 to 7 hours at least. So it does match what Logitech claims on the product page. Without these LEDs turned on, you can push 3 times more battery life. But honestly, tell me, is there anyone out there who would invest on an RGB mouse and not use these LEDs at all? The mouse can be used as it's being charged with no major noticeable difference in terms of its performance. However, I can't comment on how the mouse felt with its stock cable attached to it, as my friend just very conveniently again forgot to pack it. This mouse is also compatible with Logitech PowerPlay mousepad. That means if you use one, then you should not worry about charging the mouse for like forever. The software can help you customize the mouse lighting with a bunch of presets and animations to go with them. I also quite like the fact that you can set up 8 different LED zones on the mouse. And the selection style was quite intuitive too. Even though I swear that I am never gonna customize RGB LEDs on any of my mice. You can assign up to 5 DPI settings and set them in the multiples of 50. The light next to the scroll wheel also changes its colors based on the DPI you have selected. You can't adjust the angle snapping, but by default it works quite naturally, so I'm okay with that. Inside the assignments menu, you can assign a whole lot of stuff to any of the buttons on the mouse, and don't forget to click on view 2 for the buttons on the sides of the mouse. I just loved assigning the play and pause media to the G9 button and volume up and down to the scroll wheel's left and right tilts. I guess I'm just a basic human with basic human needs. But I guess apart from these commands, you can't really add more options inside the software. Do correct me if I'm wrong, even though I'm never wrong. So the mouse is pretty darn expensive, and I'm someone who wouldn't put my personal money in. Why? Well, just hear me out if you weren't going to. First of all, if you are buying the wired version, then this discussion becomes totally something else. And if you're going for the wireless version, then getting the non-RGB one to save pennies just doesn't make sense. Now I am someone who is extremely thrifty, so even when this mouse could just be one of the best mouse out there in terms of its performance and the overall wireless latency, well, even after that I am someone that would rather prefer paying half the money for an alternative mouse that might be 10 to 20% slower in terms of these fractional latency measurements. And also because I'm not such a fast gamer anymore, so I am okay with saving half of my money for a slightly slower mouse. But this just could be me. The weight of the mouse clearly won't interest a lot of FPS gamers anyway, or to people who compete or try to compete professionally, so there's that too. But the overall utility of the mouse is solid, and I'm pretty sure a lot of existing G502 of series users might just not mind putting their money in for an upgrade. And it's kind of a solid upgrade if you like putting a lot of money in for gaming mouse. I personally would like to see it sell for around 8,000 rupees or $100 because I think that pricing might just help Logitech sell these mice like hotcakes or cold mice. So if you end up choosing this or any other G502 X's and want to support my efforts on the video, then you can buy from the Amazon affiliate links in the description below. So take care humans, Mewbot with no memory of his X's out.